Oh, happy Friday, everybody. It is so wonderful to see all of you scrap masters out there. Are you as excited as I am to make another block with me today? I certainly hope so. Block number 2, for those of you following along. If not, you're in for a wonderful sew along nonetheless. Are you ready? Let's get stitching. Well, welcome back, quilt makers. That's right. My name is Rob Appell, quilt maker out at Stitchin Heaven in Quitman, Texas. And doesn't it look amazing behind me? That's right. This is incredible. This is the Scrap Masters Series 1 quilt. If you're new to the show, if you're new to our Friday Fun Day afternoons, it's kind of a live sew along where we all gather to create a quilt block randomly generated by the die and color wheel here in a few moments. On the design wall is all we have done so far in Series 2. That's right, I did 35 blocks for this first quilt here, put them together, created a series of new blocks, and it's really fun to listen to everybody or watch everybody on our Facebook group. So thank you for being subscribed here. Almost 84,000 of you. Amazing. Thank you so much. We also have that Facebook group, Rob Appell, and that's where we're sharing our photos of the blocks we're doing here as Scrap Masters. Stay tuned. There is a retreat coming up in April into May. Oh, I'm so excited about that. But let's try to get focused on block 2 this week. And as a side note, there's lots of things to discuss, but I do love the fact that the returning Scrap Masters are offering themselves a new challenge, like I have, adding in a base fabric, adding in a neutral for all the blocks, maybe something that will make your quilts more cohesive, less scrappy looking in the long run. I'm very, very pleased the way this project turned out. Each block was literally made a week at a time by rolling the die and spinning the wheel. And then we had some fabric integrated that changed some of the things happening. And of course, our only true rule is there are no rules. It's all about having fun. It's all about having something to sew on when we're not necessarily sure what to sew on, but I do believe it's taking off. So make sure you're sharing this with everybody out there. Make sure you're sharing it with your friends. Let us know how it's going. Make sure you're participating in all of our groups we have. And of course, stitchinheaven.com for all your sewing needs. Okay, so as a reminder, I want to mix in my new low volume neutrals, or fabric with kind of a neutral background, bright colors on them, into the block like you see here. I'm going to kind of use the color of the week to choose which low volume neutral and build from there. And so that's where we got ourselves a start. And like I was starting to say, based on the photos posted last week, I see a couple of you are following along with a background that you are threatening to use week after week. So let's see how that goes for all of us. Here we go. Week number 2, session 2, free pattern download, linked below. Pattern 5. I like this. We did 6 last week, pattern page 6 last week. So here, what are we looking at? That was 6 last week. So pattern page 5. Oh, sweet. It's basically more of a traditional star layout with a fun little hourglass block in the center. Let's break it down into some more usable blocks in a moment, but let's talk about which color we're going to do first. Okay, spinning the wheel of color choice. What are we looking for? What are we looking for? Oh, I didn't feel like I gave it a lot of enthusiasm there. Well, yellow is our color, and I will accept it. I don't feel like we got a lot of yellow last time, even though there's a lot of bright behind me. So we're taking yellow, block 5. I want a medium number of fabrics. I've got 20 to choose from here. 1 and 2 is a re-roll. What do we got? What do we got? Medium number, medium number. You got to be kidding me right now. Really? 3. I'll do it because I accept the challenge. However, I wouldn't be disappointed if some of you broke the rules out there and added a few more fabrics, because for me, what's going to really have to happen, right, is this fabric here, my light, becomes my low volume neutral. And so I've got this one choice here. Then when it comes to my bright yellow, I'm going to need to make my strongest color. So I only have a couple of fabrics to choose from. golly, I might not even have enough fabrics here in the mix because I'm literally going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 for that. Nope. 4, 5, there's 4. Well, looks like I'm cheating today, folks, too. Oh, yeah, okay. So I'm going to cheat today, too. This now becomes my one yellow paint. Oh, based on supplies. Come on. It's just based on supplies. That's all. And then I'll use here this as my, what am I going to say there? That's going to be my darkest color. And that is going to be one seriously ugly looking block, I'm afraid. But let's push through. Let's see what happens as we start to. So like always, what I want to do is I want to break down my pattern and I want to find, we're going to make one for the center, my half square triangles. So each set of 3-inch squares yields 2. So that's enough of those. And we're going to have that and that. Nope. This is my dark. This is my dark down here. So I have dark light, dark medium. For the star points there, basically I'm going to need a dark light, right? So here is my dark light, and I'm going to need 4 groups of 3. I might still run out of fabrics. Are you counting along in front of me? I hope you are. I hope you're all also commenting in the chat boxes below, having a good time today with the premiere. So yes, if you are watching on a Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time, running for about a half an hour, you're going to get the premiere where we're all chatting, talking about what we're doing. And last week we were discussing who we were, our favorite costumes for Halloween, that kind of stuff. Super fun. Okay, so there's the half square triangles needed for that block. And then I'm also going to, yep, I knew it. I'm going to run shy here too because I need to make 8 more squares. So there's 3 of those. And let's just borrow a couple more. 4. I like to cut these when I'm cutting them down, stacks of 4, keep them fairly accurate. I don't always account for the squares this early on in the block, but we are today just because I am so low on supplies. Okay, so that'll make those squares. They do need to be trimmed from these 3s down to 2.5s. Easy peasy. Okay, and then to make these, I'm going to need 4 or 8 squares of my mediums. There's the 2, 3, 4. Holy smokes, I'm still out. I love it. I'm grabbing a crazy green one. No. Just use that. Man, that's going to mess everything up, isn't it? Okay, there's those. And then 8 more. Cut into squares down here of that low volume neutral. Do you ever start making a project and just immediately start second guessing your choices? I think this is partly what I'm learning through Scrap Masters is to keep on pushing. And folks, remember, if you watched the first series, there were blocks I wasn't in love with, even near the end. But man, I cannot be more excited about the quilt. I can't be more excited about the opportunity we have coming up to do a retreat around the project. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to start chain piecing these half square triangles here as we start talking about some of those other events that are coming up. Oh, that sure doesn't sound very good. I just checked my bobbin. Hey, let's do a quick maintenance real quick. Right? Oh, it's sounding terrible. What did we have? Oh, this is a great lesson, folks. I'm just going to do an on-demand, on-the-fly lesson. So you see these big loops, right? Those are on the bottom side of the project as I approached. So what that tells me is I actually didn't have thread on the upper portion of the machine. Somewhere in here, the thread was not in tension. and therefore it was making a big mess. So one of the ways I'll test this is I start to pull on my thread with the presser foot up. The presser foot up opens and closes your tension discs on a majority of sewing machines. Some of the new modern machines with the presser foot lift and lower automation, some of those will have a disc opening system or tension opening system, but for the most part, I should be able to feel tension now as my discs are closed or my foot is down. So let me just get this rethreaded here. I had just checked my bobbin case. So the other thing I want to do, even though I'm doing poor science right now, I'm not checking one thing at a time, is I want to get in here and make sure that my bobbin case, oh, that sure came out awfully easy. I don't think I got my bobbin case all the way in because I checked it to see how much thread was on there. And I do see another thread hanging out down here too. So folks, we really should do a lesson on machine maintenance again. I do them all the time, but there's never a bad time to do one, I don't think. Okay, here's another trick I'd like to offer. Again, most machines work this way. Always refer to your machine manufacturer, but I had a little piece of thread, a thread tail, and I knew it wasn't connected to my needle thread. I could see it. So one of the tricks is this is one of the times where I'll actually take my hand wheel, probably should tell you to turn your sewing machine off so your hands are safe, but I'll grab that thread with tweezers or my fingers and I'm actually going to turn the machine in reverse or backwards manually, rocking it a little bit, and that often frees the whole piece of thread, so now I'm not worried about that. And I should be able to really, with no care at the moment, making sure my bobbin is all the way in. Machine's rethreaded here. Of course, because you're all watching, you know I've said a quick prayer, and I'm going to grab a new half square triangle set at the moment. Sure sounds better. Using our ears is always important when we're sewing. We're going to have a look. Okay, so that's just the beginning goober from the fuzz and stuff, but the rest of the stitch is locked down. So we're back on track. And because I'm a carefree quilter, I'm actually just going to use that same one we just started. I know. It's just patchwork, folks. It's just patchwork. Okay, now we got distracted. I think we were about ready to do... Oh, hey there, handsome. I am here. Thank you. I was hoping you'd show up and take over on those announcements. I'm just going to quietly sew over here while you do your fantastic. Thing, I am really excited to be here to talk all about... do you want to? No, I don't want to interject. All right, cool enough. Yeah, folks, here we go. Announcements time. Thank you to all 83, almost 84,000 subscribers out there. Hey, help me hit 84. Forget that. Help me hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of this year, by New Year's Day. And hey, speaking of New Year's Day.
Hi there, I'm Tiffany Hayes of Needle and Haystack, and I'm here with my friend
Rob Appell from Stitchin Heaven out in Quitman, Texas. And folks, this is your opportunity to sign up for our New Year's Day mystery quilt along. Now, we've been doing this for years, and it's an incredible virtual sewing day for all of you. It'll be Thursday, January 1st, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Time.
Now we have a link below for you to sign up, and you're going to want to make sure you put in your email. That's how you're going to get your supply list. So if you're sewing from your own stash or you go purchase fabric, there's a supply list for you, but we also offer pre-cut kits. And if you have a pre-cut kit, you have no homework ahead of time.
It's like we love to do. We offer a new t-shirt each and every year. We're gonna have a really cool dark charcoal gray where you can choose, are you more of a carefree quilter or maybe a bit more passionate about the precision of your work? And then I think you should tell them about the retreat.
Okay, there's a retreat at our retreat center here at Stitchin Heaven in Quitman, Texas, and you can sign up for that. It's gonna be a blast. You'll be able to follow along with us and sit with other people, meet new people, make new friends, which is what we're all about. We are going to have a soup recipe because we like soup, and it's easy, and it's usually cold.
Right? And the soup is great because it'll give you something to have ready later on after you're done sewing. We're going to have all kinds of fantastic prizes and, of course, laughter. And some of the things that we have become really excited about over the years is watching where you all gather together. There's been so many groups that either will rent a community center or maybe gather in somebody's home. So let us know. And the best way to keep up with our big group is we have a Facebook page dedicated to the New Year's Day mystery Quilt Along, and that's where you can put all of your photographs of the fabrics you're working with. You can share all of your experience because quilting is all about community.
Yes indeed. And so that Facebook group is in existence. So if you're already in it, that's great. And if you want to go ahead and join up, that's fabulous too.
Yes, and remember, following the link below will get you access to signing up with your email, will get you access to the supply list or the pre-cut kit pre-order. And last year there was a little bit of confusion. So folks, if it's a pre-cut kit, you really have no homework. So you'll get to enjoy your holidays, right? There's also, as I was saying, a link to the retreat if you'd like to join us in person. The soup recipe will be there for you. So all you need to do now is sign up, sit back, relax, and we will see you on New Year's Day. That's right. The New Year's Day Mystery Quilt Along is all ramping up. We are super excited. Kits are being prepared. Make sure you purchase your kit in the very near future if you want yours in time. Remember, they're pre-cut, so all your parts and pieces are ready to go so you can enjoy your holidays and then just sew with us, make your soup with us, and don't forget about the incredible retreat that's going on for the few days around the event. Now, let's be clear. I am not teaching anything during that retreat, but I will be at the retreat goofing off, sewing, eating, fellowshipping with all of you. While we are teaching, we're actually in the film studio because it gets so loud and crazy at the retreat center. We did that one year, if you remember, and it was wild. So yes, join us for the retreat on New Year's Day over that time period. Also consider, if you're at all interested in looking at a long arm, or if you already own a long arm and you would like more information, maybe you're interested in the software like Pro Stitcher, our Handy Quilter sewing event is coming up December 4th through 6th. It's a great demo day kind of situation where you can come meet the educators, put your hands on, get your questions answered, and learn from the best of the best, us there at Stitchin Heaven with our Handy Quilter machines. We just love talking free motion machine quilting on those big machines, as well as the designs that you can do with all of the fantastic robot work or the computer work, which I think is super, super cool. So a few days ago, I was on a video interview getting excited about a Reno quilt show coming up in the near future, Reno, Nevada. And I met Jennifer Wagner, and I could have swore she looked familiar. And I'm staring at this young gal and going, wow, not only are her quilts fantastic, but she looks really, really familiar. And I realized, oh, duh. So I've been calling Jennifer Pamela because Pamela May retreat coming up March 18th through 22nd at Stitchin Heaven there in Quitman, Texas at our awesome retreat center. The gal's name is Jennifer Wagner, and Pamela May, like so many of her other quilt patterns, are two named quilt patterns, fun family names, that kind of thing. So she is got curves, folks. Did I say that? No. Yes, I did, and I was trying to be funny. So Jennifer really specializes in teaching simple ways to sew curves, patchwork curves, applique, all kinds of stuff. So anyways, Pamela May is a really beautiful quilt, and Jennifer, will help you all March 18th through 22nd learn to do your curve sewing if you come and sew with us in person, Quitman, Texas, there at Stitchin Heaven. It's going to be super fantastic. And I love working around these other designers, these young folks, these up and comers, which is great. I love learning from all of the folks that are out there and seeing what all is being provided. So it's super cool. And as I said, I was just there last week during the quilt show, and I'm starting to jump ahead a little bit. So let me just go ahead and fire up the old grateful list, if I may, to our new viewers this week. Thanks again for being here. Grateful list. It's something I truly believe we should all spend some time each week, if not every day, thinking about those things we are grateful for. Sometimes life can get a little challenging or a little heavy. I believe this is why many of us come to the colors and the quilting and all of the fun community we have here at Stitchin Heaven. So thank you for trusting us as your safe place and your enthusiastic, inspirational place as well. So as I dive into the grateful list, kind of funny, I was sitting, as I do every morning that I can, but I love it when I'm home. I was up in my little garden area, my library, drinking my coffee and reading, and we have this bird named, I call him Peanut because he's always flying around with a peanut first thing in the morning. And by the end of the day, I find a peanut shell usually broken up somewhere. He works on it most of the day. So got a little video for you. Please forgive me for the mess on the upper deck. I mean, but anyways, here's Peanut.
Okay, I want to show you all this, but I'm a little embarrassed to the condition of my home. But there is Peanut. That's our blue jay who somehow every day ends up with a new peanut. And he spends about half the day working on getting that thing open. That's where chameleons used to live. Those of you who've been following for a long time. And yeah, my roof deck needs a lot of help. But anyway, so I find his shells around, but this is about the closest video we've been able to see for Peanut. So I'm going with one of my gratefulest items, as I love watching nature. Maybe I'll do a quick little tour of why I love my environment so much though. Here, zoom in a little bit. A lot of times I get birds that like to sit on that branch there, but just across my deck there is the Pacific Ocean, so I can actually check the surf. We got a little swell going today. On the other side of that tree, which is an avocado tree, that's my in-laws' home. My kids are now living downstairs, so without giving up too much information, and my backyard is overgrown. And folks, please don't get me wrong. The wildlife here in California is nowhere near as exciting as it is out in Texas, but I do and can confirm that I have a skunk living under my garden shed out in my backyard, and my wife would like him removed. I simply just don't want to irritate him when I'm letting my little dog out in the evenings. I've seen him a couple times this week, and I did call animal regulation, and they said that I can't trap him and that he's actually not a big issue unless he gets irritated. And so anyways, I have the phone number for Terry the Trapper, who may come out and remove the skunk from underneath my shed. But I just figured I'd post that information today in case it makes for a great story later.
So definitely number one on the grateful list is nature. And I love all of the things that I realized were happening naturally around the property over the last few days. And when I say property, I'm talking about a little, like, lot here in California. I am not out in nature at all, which kind of gives me the chuckles, I guess. And speaking of that little lot here in California, the remodel progress. I've been working a bunch in the evenings. I was gone a lot the last several weeks. We have guests coming into town as those holidays are starting to get pretty close now that Halloween's behind us. So yes, working on the remodel. I'm really excited that we're basically done. Here's a little footage of that for you.
So we got the bedding in, we got the blinds in. So the shades go up and down, which is amazing. So you can kind of hide away the junk that's outside. Got the barn door in, Jen's closet in, doors on my closet. Cables for the TV cleaned up. Really pleased. Lighting in. Everything basically done except for the shower. Bathroom. Isn't this cool? Watch. Whoa, my goodness, sorry. You can let a little light in, but you've got the privacy. Isn't that great? But yeah, unfortunately, the shower. Update to be continued.
It's come along beautifully, and I do. I just have that upstairs shower to tackle, and we are done set, loving it. So that is number two on the grateful list, the progress of the remodel. I can just feel some of that weight coming off and my creativity settling back in. And of course, I was super inspired. Number three on the grateful list was being part of the Outdoor Quilt Show last week. I've got a little bit of a recap video coming up. We were running around doing all kinds of filming work, and we were concerned about a little weather coming in. So I apologize. I did not grab my own footage and my own walk around tour, but make sure you check out the video next Wednesday. It's really cool because I stole all of Elijah, our cameraman's footage, and he did a beautiful job getting some B-roll, a little voiceover over that. So it's not a long video, but you can see the quilts outside. You can enjoy them. And again, please consider participating next year in the Outdoor Quilt Show and the Fall Festival. Come to the retreat, enter your quilts in the show, have a corn dog. It's just a great thing to be part of. So super exciting. And number four, last but not least on the grateful list, I am actually, as I mentioned, a little earlier, I think, but if not, I am on the road again. So technically, while we're all viewing this video and I'm building this block, I'm also building quilts with the group up at Blossom Quilt Shop in Oakdale, California, heading over to the Sierra Quilters Guild of Tuolumne County for a lecture and another workshop. And the thing I guess I'm most excited about in this weekend and all of the quilters I'll be spending time with is this will be our first in-person Scrap Masters class. So I'm packing the die, I'm packing the color wheel, I'm packing my parts and pieces, and I am going to go do a half-day workshop where we literally roll and spin our way to blocks and have a blast. Really looking forward to that. And of course, I use that as a testing ground so that when I'm building out concepts for other events down the road, virtual events, I can kind of test time frame. How does the average quilter work, timing wise, all those kinds of things. So how can we make it awesome for all of you out there? So I'm really blessed to be on the road again and having the opportunity with these premiere style videos to be participating both with you all here on coffee break in the class and also participating in the class with all of the folks when I'm not typing along in the chat box with all of you for our premiere here Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific and or 5 p.m. Eastern. Super cool, super exciting. And like I said, fantastic to be here with all of you. As a matter of fact, so make sure that you have grabbed that Scrap Masters Series 2 pattern. Let's see how that is going. And if I may switch places with my partner in crime over there, let's see how those parts and pieces are truly coming along. Then we're just going to take that slotted trimmer and trim them down to 2.5 before I press, because that makes it so much easier when you're doing these quick like this. Even though it's scrappy, I'm still focusing on it like a quilt, meaning units at a time, building my parts and pieces so that I can be creative during the layout process again, because the colors will be changing, especially if we get blocks that have more like 10, 12, 15 different fabrics in them. Then they become very fun to design the individual placement of each block. Today, I'm kind of glad I had to cheat due to my quantities available. But I am kind of in my brain struggling between the conversation between what I'm calling lights and what my brain is seeing as brights with these fabrics. So I want my lightest fabric to be the low volume neutral that I've created, but a lot of times these patterns, I'm also using bright fabrics and my brain is saying, that's your brightest, where really a lot of times my brightest fabric is becoming my medium on the pattern page. So we're learning, it's fun. I like to push myself as a quilter. And because I don't really know what I'm doing color-wise or layout-wise, I'm just literally pressing whichever way my hand's holding. I guess I should try to press towards the darker of the two fabrics. It's always a good lesson when we're building any kind of patchwork, especially half square triangles. That's said for two reasons for the new quilters out there. One is so you don't see the seam allowance bleed through on lighter and darker fabrics, but also sometimes it helps us keep track if we're nesting our seams or getting opposite direction facing seams so that it allows us an easier chance to put together our patchwork with accuracy. Easier for me even to say than do sometimes. Of course, maybe it's the dedication to the accuracy versus the excitement of the color. We'll see. Okay, so let's again go ahead and address these as we see them on the pattern page. I've pre-cut down my pieces to the 2.5-inch square. So I just want to focus on making that one which had what would be the darks and lights and the darks and the mediums of my half square triangles. Okay, so these are my choices. And darks go all to the outside. So we're just building a simple hourglass shape, like yay. Let's just go ahead and build that together right now. Here's another fun trick I'm going to teach you. Okay, because those are the same actual units, it's easier for me to flip these over. So I'm feeding into the machine. That's a reminder, 1/4-inch seam allowance time. Another reason I like to do all these in assembly line fashion is now that all the angled sewing is done, I'm ready for my straight sewing. So I can just use that edge guide for consistent seams over and over again. And I'm going to feed the flat side of those triangles in whenever possible, just making sure I don't mix up which edges need to be sewn together. And because it's an hourglass or a windmill block, choose a fabric and press to that both times. So if I'm hitting towards my low volume neutral, I'm going to do it again. And now you'll be able to see what I'm talking about when you get those seams here that are kind of flip-flopped or crisscrossed, and it just makes it all the easier to put together those with a bit more accuracy. So our center unit is now built out. This is S, and I'm just going to set it aside for later. And then we're going to make, and again, these units are going to be real easy because it's the darks on the out or the lights facing. So I'm going to make 4 of these right now, all in the same fashion. Line them up. Okay, again, I'm going to flip them over. But I'm going to still sew on that flat edge as I go through the machine. That's why I love building my blocks, units right out the machine here. So if I flip it over, I'm not confused by orientation. This is where I really wish I had more fabrics on that die. I wish I would have gotten, like I said, a 10 or a 12. Could have mixed and matched a bunch of colors in there, because you're going to see, technically, I would be just putting back together mostly those same dark fabrics. Fortunately, I ran out, so we're going to get a little patchy in this darker spot up there. So I should be using these units. Let's see what I can do to kind of build them a little bit unique as I go. So I guess basically just having those in different locations there. Let's go ahead and do the same chain piecing now. Real simple with those straight edges and those blocks. Go ahead and just cut those apart, press them. What I'm going to do here is, it doesn't matter which way I press them because they're random. So I'm just going to then align them in the way that the seams benefit, because it won't matter what's happening with the individual fabric choices here. Not enough to make a difference, I should say. So what am I talking about? When I flip this over, if that seam is going towards me, I'm going to simply rotate this unit so it's going the opposite direction. Lay them together. That's called nesting your seams. Align your corners. Great technique. So now we have 5 of the 9 units built, real simple, and the last 4 are technically matching 4 patches or checkerboards, so they should be real easy. I'm going to press all of these units up into the squares away from the triangles just for bulk management. Set them in a pile so they all look the same-ish because it's scrap E. And then the key is, because I had all of those, again, low volume neutrals, is I'm just going to grab one and sew it to another, and I should be able to rotate once I come off the ironing. So this will really speed up the construction. This block 5 is a fast block to make. I'm hoping I cut an extra one versus missing one again. But here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, good. Looks like I did have an extra one cut down. We'll use it again. Now I'm just going to press each time to the low volume neutral side because I will, again, be able to spin them with ease. I will try to mix and match the different fabrics so we have more of a fun 4-patch checkerboard. So I won't use those two together if possible. Oops. So mostly the same. We'll have one random looking one, which gives just a little bit more interest and impact into there as I put these squares together. Again, just flipping over, making sure my seams nest nicely and running those 1/4 inch seam allowances. All right, let's get these 4 patches, these four patches pressed out. Again, it won't matter which direction we go, but this will allow us to start building out our block number 5 with all of our pieces we just created. Our kind of star point units, D, and these 4 patches, B. And if you'll notice in the pattern as you read them, the lettered units kind of get more complicated or add more and more half square triangles as the letters increase going up the alphabet there. So one of the tricks I'm also going to do is at the moment is I'm going to lay all of these units here with the same light facing up, and then that will be in the pattern. You can see that we're actually going to have the mediums facing into our star. So again, as I build this, I want to have what I was calling my lighters right there, my low volume neutrals. Okay. Then these are all just going to basically form out like this. Okay. And then I'm going to put my kind of darkers of the 4-patch blocks in towards, nope, that's going to get lost if I do that. So I'll do that one there and that one there. That splits it up nice. That can touch something else. And folks, this is not going to be as unattractive as I was afraid of. It's not as yellow as it should be, but go ahead and refer to the rules if you've got any concerns about that. I'm going to start building these patches together. And this is where the job of the sewing block 5 gets super simple. You can chain pieces as long as you promise to stay organized. Just matching up your center seams on each of your units, hoping they're nesting. They may not be because we don't know how to care for that in the design and ironing process with these scrap blocks. Don't forget, this is that upper unit. So drop it back there. And then between the two of them, we'll know which one is our center unit. And then the lower unit, checking rotation. Got a trick for you here after this. One more time gives us a little bit more chance to nest our seams. Not paramount, but will work fairly nicely for us. Check that iron to make sure it's still hot while I'm sewing over here. Once the rows are built, we're going to prep again for ironing. So this would be considered an outside row. So I'm going to press to the outside of that center block. That'll allow these seams here to be nestable. This is the inside. So I'll press to the inside block or inside unit. Maybe give it a bit of steam to get it to behave itself. Steam it into submission. You can always change the rules if for some reason you had a bazillion triangles coming together giving you a problem there. And then again, outside. So I'm going to press away from center, out from center. Confirming I've still built myself a star. On we go to stitch this together. So while I'm putting these last two seams in, I just want to say again, thank you for all being here each and every Friday. I really appreciate you commenting along in the premiere. It's super fun to see all my friends and to type along with you. I'm super excited to have been sewing also with the folks at the Blossom Quilt Shop up in Oakdale, California, while you're all watching this video and we're typing along on a coffee break. Super fun. So I'm very, very fortunate about the opportunities I get. Very grateful to have a grateful list that it can be so vast, if I will. Let me get this last one, just make sure I'm organized. I want to remind you all not to forget that New Year's Day so long is right around the corner. Please make sure you're signed up with your email. Make sure that you don't unsign up for emails from Stitchin Heaven and miss out, because if you signed up for the email for the New Year sew along, but then you unsubscribe, you'll be unsubscribing from that email, if that makes sense. So anyways, just bear with the emails through the new year as we're getting you set up. Make sure you have your patterns or your supply list now downloaded, so you know if you want one of those wonderful pre-cut patterns, we still have a few available. Make sure you get your order in ASAP. I cannot guarantee how much longer they will be available. Boy, folks, this turned out a lot more attractive than I expected it to. I'm liking this a lot. This is terrific. Look at that. Awesome. It has enough contrast that you can see it from across the room. It's not screaming. I think it's going to work nicely as we start to pair it in with some of our other parts and pieces, and we'll start to know as we develop more and more blocks. Again, folks, check out our website, stitchinheaven.com. Look at all of those incredible block of the month offerings we have coming up. They're really, really cool. And again, they mostly come pre-cut. Not all of them come that way. And when we say pre-cut, we're talking about ready to rock and roll, ready to stitch, not necessarily just 5 or 10-inch squares, 2.5-inch strips, but cut to the base piece and ready for you, or applique piece like I've been working on with my dog park and having so much fun with that. So anyways, it's great to see you all here this week. Thank you again so much for participating. Consider signing up for that retreat. We'll have more information on the website real soon. If nothing else, I can tell you that it is going to be, I believe, April 29th through May 3rd. Send me an email, rob@stitchinheaven.com, and I'll get it to the right people so that you get your pre-registration in. Thanks again for being here, folks. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. And until then, please stay well.